Welcome back, my little recusants, to a very old series on the channel. A series that I haven't updated in a very long time. But we are hopping back to our Final Fantasy I HD Pixel Remaster 100% guide. And basically what had happened to me was I ended up in a situation where I had about 2.5 hours of footage that I spliced, that I just was wandering around, didn't have a clue what I was doing, and I was in the middle of Final Fantasy X and stuff as well at the time, and I just sort of said, oh look, this game I'm just going to put on the back burner. And so what I've done is I've basically spliced together little 10 minutes or less what I did during that hours and hours of meandering, and then we're going to literally hop back into the series with boosters involved. In Final Fantasy I, you're able to put together special settings in the game to increase the gil earned, increase the experience earned, to not necessitate the amount of grinding needed, as well as being able to turn off encounters. So in a little bit I will do this, because what you're going to notice I was constantly doing now was when I was looking to upgrade my equipment, I then had no money for spells. Or if I ended up trying to save money for spells, I ended up, you know, needing to spend money on potions, needing to spend money on, like, Phoenix Downs, the inn, and so I wasn't able to then get the new spells, etc. And I just was wandering, not sure where I was or what I was to do. But I did find my way to the elf castle, and they're basically saying that their prince has been put into a sleep and they are not able to wake up. And I then ended up wandering and meandering my way around this castle for far too long. That's why I've put up the speed. But yes, we've discovered that the prince is under a curse and we have to wake him up. Then I proceeded to wander aimlessly around the area around town until I found this ruined castle, the Western Keep. And I then discovered that there is a guy here and he's looking for a crown, and that crown is basically in a hidden bog somewhere. So I was tricked by Athos, king of the Dark Elves, and the only way to retrieve my crown is the only way to restore my castle. And we're like, but Athos is the prince that's asleep. So we didn't realize maybe that they were evil and they're after cursing this poor king to live in squalor. So I then made my way down to this cave, and all I can say is, ladies and gents, that this cave, the Marsh Cave, is multi-floors. It is an absolute maze, and the enemies hit like an absolute truck. You have wraiths, so since we have a Might Mage, it is useful. We can use their D spell to basically hit them with radiant damage or holy damage. And like that, I'm just not using my spells for whatever reason. So again, this is from ages ago, it's a bit wild. But why I'm leaving these in is that in our 100% guide, we are going to have to fill the bestiary. Sorry, the bestiary. We're going to have to fill the bestiary with all manner of enemies. And I suppose just to leave in a couple of fights just so you know what enemies are in these different areas, you know? But yeah, we're wandering back with our old D&D party of Heyma, the Red Mage, Faelindel, the Rogue, Orvein, the Martial Artist, and Serena, our little healer, well before, you know, the time of our Baldur's Gate playthrough, which I do also want to get back to. But, as I say, I was kind of wandering around trying to get through all these different random encounters. You can see that there's green wolves and gargoyles and oozes, and we were have to dealing with poison, and then the poison was like having us tick down to death. So as I say, a 10-minute highlight, but just to let you even in a snippet see that I was absolutely struggling. Dying constantly. Any money I did get was, you know, small amounts of gil, like 100 gil, but I need to spend that on revival, and it just would leave me with maybe 4,000, and I'd be like, right, let's get some antidotes. Like, I just didn't have the gil to both equip myself with the equipment needed to survive more. I couldn't get new spells, which is what you needed to go and last in the dungeon. You were trying to live off potions and not being able to afford high potions. Like, money was just super, super difficult to come by. And like that, just trying to outfit our white mage then with some spells and abilities. And the 3rd level was expensive. And then the 4th level were even more expensive. But I was also like, well, if I can get 4th level spells, at least I can not need as many antidotes, etc. But this was tricky because then you ended up with no money. And then you were trying to find your way through the maze, go the right direction, which was hard to know what the right direction was. You're also hunting for different treasure chests and getting an encounter every couple of seconds. But like that, at least with the undead enemies, I know I probably don't even use that. Oh no, I do! Thank goodness. You can use holy magic to just one bang the entire mob. So, you know, that's where we want to be. But again, the EXP yield, small. But you would have heard a jingle there, and that was an award for filling up the bestiary with a certain number of enemies. And like that, you're just trying to make sure you at least have an encounter and slay one of every single enemy in the game. But again, just showing you that, you know, every couple of steps you were getting an encounter. And then once we got to basement floor 3, this map was sprawling. And like, my characters don't have that much HP. They're getting poisoned and, you know, wounded every couple of seconds. It just... And like that, you're like, I have to try and not only make it to a boss, survive the boss, but then have enough potions to make it back out of here unscathed. So as I say, this was hours and hours of footage that I'm just kind of leaving in the unique enemies we fought, just so you guys can like see the different enemies and what we did to, you know, fight them. But once we get past this little section of like the 2023 archives, we're going to be hopping back to me loading up the game and basically saying, right, let's just put on these boosts. It's no more a time save than putting on no encounters and 4 times running speed in 10, just so I can get to and from different areas quicker. So putting on money boost as well as EXP boost, I don't see it as a negative thing whatsoever. What I will say though is that there is a very useful thing with the map feature, because another one of the trophies for the 100% guide is collecting all of the treasures. So if you enter a little room that's like a little inside room, you are able to see then inside every single room in the game on a certain map's floor. So then I was able to say, okay, there's now no treasures in those other rooms. I've gotten every treasure chest on this floor. And then you can also scan on the top floor and say, or the basement, or the ground floor 1, and be like, right, is there any treasure chests I'm missing? No. Grand, I can move on. But I do want to apologize for this kind of coming out of nowhere. But as you can see, I finally saved up being like, okay, I have like a decent amount of like 6 grand worth of money, and then with a couple of spells bought, the next thing you're like, oh, it's now yeah, we're done basically. We've spent it all on like 3 different spells. But as I say, just trying to outfit Serena with, I suppose, multiple healing, status healing abilities I know that there's like remedies and stuff, but they cost so much money anyway. And then we're like, let's give Heyma, our red mage, some, you know, AoE fire damage. And then again, the rest of it was just spent on potions. As you can see, our stock was 0. So we literally spent 30 potions going to and from that area. So like the cave is not for the faint of heart. And as I say, once we get down to this area, we can pick up 2 more chests. And I suppose I was just trying to make sure that when you're getting this kind of condensed version, that we're at least showing you some of the chests that I mightn't get to once we reload the game in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2025. But as I say, you can use your map and check what chests are missing. And as I say, for future, we're going to now load into... The last time we played was August 23. So we're loading in now in 2025. And we're going to now continue our way through the Marsh Cave. But first, we're going to go to our config. We're going to go to boosts down in the menu here. It's very far down. But we're able to turn encounters off, turn experience to 0, and turn GIL to 0, or turn it to 4 times the amount. And just like that, we are going to see our levels of experience quadruple. I mean, that's very simply put. But the fact is, with creatures like the werewolf, they actually give really good EXP anyway. So just watch even this first battle, we're going to see an absolute crazy high amount of EXP for our party. 1,600 for one fight, and there we see everyone's now up to level 15. And what is nice is that 1 point of a stat is actually crazy high for our characters. And like that, Serena went from less than 200 HP to up to 212. So the HP gains on levels can be super dramatic. And that was only after one fight. And I suppose just for our bestiary, just to know that we can get Black Widows and Tarantulas. I'm going to try and lead in the different encounters because, you know, when we get towards the end of the game, we're going to have to be hunting for certain bestiary entries. And I am sorry, I'm only after noticing now that we have like the little mouse icon, so that's probably going to be there for a while because I didn't realize I didn't press the do not show mouse icon, but hopefully it kind of blends in and it can be a little Where's Wally whenever it comes up. Well, we're fighting skeletons and blood bones. Probably a waste of a spell slot, because again, this is giving us very D&D vibes. With our leveled spell slots and our limited spell usage, there's no MP bar, it's just you have X amount of first level spells, second level spells, third level spells, fourth level spells, fifth level spells, sixth level spells, seventh level spells, eighth level spells. So it's giving that real tabletop grid aesthetic. And I mean, when you think about it, what could have been super cute is that like if we had a circumstance where, oh, you actually just moved on a grid and it was just like a little step, you know, like a pawn on a chessboard or whatever. That could have been cute. But now Serena is going to use her Dira spell to kill all these, hopefully. Or, you know, let Heyma do it with her black magic. That works too. But again, you can imagine that without the 4 times EXP, we would have had to have gone through 8 to 10 battles to get the amount of EXP that we have now. So it's just mad. Like, it's mad the slog that this game would have expected you to go through just to get to, like, not even the first boss was the night guy way back when, but like progress was slow. And I know some of you might say, oh, like the boosters, they cheapen the experience. I mean, it saves time. It's a time save. That's where I'm kind of at. And as I say, we now have nearly 10k GIL. So, I mean, if that lets me get a boatload of potions that I can kind of just not have to use our spell slots only for actual emergencies, I'm going to be happy with that. And as I say, this is me 2 years later being like, I don't even know where I am. I don't know what I've collected. I need to like triple check every room just so we don't end up confused or like missing a treasure chest. But yeah, the whole thing is that the Marsh Cave, that basement floor 2, when you take the north exit, that takes you to kind of just an open area where there's some treasure chests, but actually progressing through this cave is through the kind of room on the south end. And when we get there, we'll get there. But as you can see, Heyma being in armor is actually just brilliant because she literally got 6 hits there, and each of the hits only did 1 damage because she has such high armor and defense. Whereas if that had hit our more squishier characters, we would have been in trouble. So that's why your actual positioning is really important in terms of where in the top to bottom these guys are, because the higher up they are, the more likely they are to be attacked. And so that's why we have Serena all the way down at the very bottom. And getting 2,000 experience from those little purple jellies. Absolutely fantastic, fantastic stuff. And I believe I left there because I thought once I go back in here, the game would have auto-saved. So I'm now auto-saved up to the floor there. But as you can see, our HP has already gone up into the 200s now for everybody. So like that's really good. And while we don't have a warrior, at least Faelindel, our thief, is pretty tanky. With literally Orvein being 1 HP behind, so while they don't necessarily have really good armors, their vitality stat at least gives them a good amount of HP, you know. And what's interesting about the white mage is that in later levels and when they rank up to like their final form, they actually get massive boosts to HP as well. So they'll actually be quite a powerful tank. And then I think I was just going in here to try again and change the character. Because I really liked I remember thinking in the very first episode, I'm like, oh, I want to walk around with my white mage. And then I was like, there must be a way. I mustn't have just looked hard enough the last time 3 years ago. But as you can see, we do have our bestiary here. And like that, we're going to just have to try and fill in all of these different entries. So unlike the Pokemon Pokedex where it'll say, oh, this creature's in this such and such an area, it'll only tell you where you can find them when you've already unlocked them, which is a bit annoying, but we will eventually get there. But then I finally find it, switch party member, and I'm like, what does that mean? Oh my god! It changes them in the overworlds. We finally have our little white mage, our little Serena going on her adventure. It's a small thing, but like it's a big thing for me, so like I'm delighted. But yes, we are going to do out this series until the end. We're going to have another Final Fantasy finitoed. Okay guys, we're going to get it done. And I suppose we definitely, you know, when I come to the question of like, what is my channel? You know, we're a guide channel, we're an achievement hunting channel. I hope I give a little bit of fun commentary and like comedic timing at times. But I am here to like help you guys get 100% out of the games you play. And I do have to say I love the Final Fantasy series, and I've not played the Pixel games, so my hope is that over the course of the next year, we might 100% 1, 2, 3, 4, Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7. The sky's the limit. But what I do know is that obviously this game is old, as in like it's an old SNES game. It's not going to be that long. There probably aren't going to be that many parts to it, especially when we're on 4 times the XP. So we're not going to then have problems with the... what's the word? We're not going to have problems with EXP. And then like that, with a push of this button, we can actually turn off the random encounters, which will just let us explore dungeons so much quicker. And like we're now at a stage where, you know, over the course of this episode, we've probably taken, in our original sense, we've probably done about 40 to 60 battles, you know, given that the EXP was ×4. So we can now take the time, we've gotten a good few levels now that we're able to just turn off the encounters and let us walk around these areas without a constant need to go into the menu, heal, go into the menu, fix up this, that and the other. So we're just checking out all these different rooms to make sure that we get our treasure chests. And as I say, what would have been quicker is if I went into one of these rooms and then checked the larger map, just so we'd be able to know what rooms have stuff in them and what rooms don't. But a cottage, very, very useful item there for our in the overworld healing, which is great. And as I say, at the very least, at least I'm showing you guys where there are chests if you're trying to get all the chests, even if I'm going into rooms that are already explored. Oh, and sometimes chests have monsters in them. And we have these illithid looking people from Baldur's Gate. We have like the illithids. Let's not let them put a mind flayer tadpole in us. And I think I very naively thought that these were undead. And things went south really quickly. They hit incredibly hard. As I say, they're not like crazy strong. But what I needed to have was Serena doing like a Cura or something and not a Diara, you know? So that wasn't the vibe. Good old Faelindel with the high evade. But yeah, it was too little too late, unfortunately. They're just doing so much damage and I just wasn't prepared. So I am going to be reloading a save and I will just hop ourselves directly back to this this treasure chest with a more solid grasp on the fight, because I'm going to potion everybody up. Heyma's going to be on full hit points and we're going to just be using our buffs more successfully. But once we finish this fight, that's going to be the end of this episode, and we are definitely going to have another episode much sooner than 3 years down the line. Feel free to check out our previous episodes in the series if you want to start from the beginning again. But I'm looking forward to finishing out this journey, and I hope you guys will be happy to come along on the journey with me. But for now, I've been the RPG Recusant. This has been an episode of Final Fantasy I HD Pixel Remaster. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a continued good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you decided to tune in to this episode today. I'll just give a little bit of commentary on what we're doing in the battle, and then we'll end our episode. So as I say, I'm using items to the benefit. I'm using Protect to keep our really strong hitters alive. We're now using our nice heal ability, giving us a little AoE pick-me-up. And so long as they don't completely single target Heyma, we should be all good. Like that, she's done 58 damage, brought down to 58, and then because we used an item, she's healed up again. And now we're going to we're going to protect Orvein, because he's also a good heavy hitter. And Faelindel seems to be avoiding, that's really good. But once we defeat these guys, we do end up getting a key item, the crown. And then we're going to bring that crown back to the Western Ruined Keep and progress the story. So until the next episode, my little recusants, have a good one.